Thank you, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yep, you can all hear okay?
Yep.
All right, well, firstly, thank you all so much for coming down tonight. What a privilege to organise a race that would bring so many fantastic people to a brewery on a Friday night. Not that sounds like a very difficult thing to achieve. But yeah, it's a real privilege to be here to present the TCR number 11 route to you, and thank you all for coming down. So big round of applause for everyone here. Now, as you all know, each Transcontinental route launch is a hotly anticipated event, and it's something that we try and keep under wraps. We like our routes to be top secret, and we know it's not national security. We know that there's not going to be an invasion if the route gets out, but it's pretty important to us that there aren't any leaks, and I think we've done pretty well this year. So does anyone here think they know where we're going to be starting next year?
I know where you're starting and finishing.
Not you.
But I can't tell you.
You're lying. Not you either. All right, that's good. So, planning a transcontinental race is more than just picking a series of roads across Europe. Europe's full of amazing roads. It's full of once in a lifetime roads to cycle. But that alone is not enough to make a TCR. Planning a transcontinental route, planning a really good bike race, in my mind, is about creating a narrative. It's about telling a story with your race. And this year, we get to tell a brand new story, or maybe a sequel. So, Transcontinental number 10 was the culmination of a decade of ultra racing. As you all know, TCR number 1 started in 2013, and with 2 years of COVID delay, TCR number 10 happened this year in 2024. So it was an amazing race. TCR number 10, fantastically headed up by my good colleague David here, and as you all know, it started in Heraldsbergen, the spiritual home of Transcontinental, and finished in Istanbul, the place that the first 3 races finished. 3 or 4, someone's going to correct me now. This year, we get to start a new decade, a new era, and we're doing that by redrawing the Transcontinental map. So, can I go to the first So, what this is our control point icon for the start locations of TCR number 11, done by our very talented designer Tom Probert. Can anyone have a guess as to where TCR number 11 is starting from this icon?
Bermondsey!
Greece, Spain, Bermondsey.
Camberwell.
Where else have we got? Camberwell.
Galicia.
Southend. Galicia. We've got some good guesses, some bad ones here. Okay, let's go one slide further on. Start TCR number 11. Santiago de Compostela in Galicia, as someone wisely guessed. On the very edge of Western Europe. Santiago de Compostela is a really natural place for a transcontinental race to start. It's a place of pilgrimage. It's a place that for 1,000 years people have journeyed across Europe to reach. We're doing it slightly different. We're flipping the script on it. We're starting our journey in Santiago. It's an amazing medieval city where pilgrims journey collecting their stamps along the way. We're starting there and collecting our stamps afterwards. So from Compostela, the race route goes out along the start parcours out to the Atlantic coast. So we'll be taking riders out to Cap Fistera, known to the Romans as the world's end. It's one of the most westerly points of Europe, so it's a really natural place for the race to go. Before heading east, let's go to the next slide. So from Santiago to Compostela, we're journeying out towards Picos de Europa. There we are. Some of you may know Picos de Europa from the Vuelta a España, the Lago de Covadonga climb, particularly well known in the area, but the whole mountain range is full of amazing roads, amazing off-roads, amazing mountains, and we're going to be exploring that with the race next year. Picos de Europa so called because returning voyagers from the Americas would see the Picos de Europa, the peaks of Europe, as the first land that they'd sight as they arrived back from the European continent. And I think for our riders, there's going to be a slightly similar feeling. The first mountains they see as they start crossing the continent, the first of many mountain ranges. So in the Picos de Europa, we're going to have a control point, followed by a detached parkour, which is going to show riders some of the best of the area. Amazing jagged peaks, bare rocks, perfect tarmac or double track, depending on your preferences. So from there, we're going to go to the Col de Tourmalet, one of the most famous climbs in cycling. Col de Tourmalet, as many of you will know, has featured on the Tour de France more than any other climb. It's almost synonymous with cycling, with the Tour de France. It's where Eugene Christophe broke his forks on his descent and was given a 10-minute penalty by Henri Desregon for having the blacksmith's son help him with the bellows as he fixed his forks on the way down. So never say that we enforce the rules harshly. It's featured on the Trans-Pyrenees race every single year, so it's a climb that the Lostot team know very well. This year we'll be climbing it from the Pyrenees side and descending down the other way. And from there we're going to be leaving the Pyrenees and journeying all the way across to the Alps at the Strada dell'Assietta. Now, this is, yes, some whoops and claps in the corner there. This is one for the more recent history books. Now, I can see Josh Ibbott standing with his back against the wall over there. The Strada dell'Assietta is where Josh Ibbott closed the gap on James Hayden in 2015. It's known as Transcontinental's first off-road parkour, so a little piece of our own history here as well. It's where Michael made the decision that the Transcontinental would not just be a road race. And that's something that, as you all know, very much lives on in the race, to more or less criticism every year. But this year we're going to enjoy taking you back there. A little reminder of the race's history. The Strada dell'Assietta, also known as the Strada Provinciale 173, if you want to be more mundane and bureaucratic about it, spends around 60 kilometers over 2,000 meters. So this is not an ordinary road. And here riders are really going to have to think about what time they go up there, about their resupply, about the weather, all that kind of stuff. How was it for you, Josh, back in 2015?
It's quite good. There's a long descent down to the top of the Finestra, and I saw him at time I thought about it. Didn't he supply pump?
Sorry?
Didn't you supply a pump at the end so you
Who?
could quite cold, so you could pump your tyres back?
Don't know. Josh enjoyed it. Josh enjoyed the Strada. That's it.
Yeah. It's alright. I think bikes are much better nowadays.
Well,
That was impressive.
I think that's a really interesting point. Every year, people say, "Are you going to get more extreme, more challenging with your parkour?" And it's a really salient point that the bikes of 2024, 2025 are a world away from the bikes of 2015. Tubeless technology, disc brakes, etc. Really make it a lot easier to ride off road, and the race has to move with the times. Okay, let's go over to the next control. We'll take the questions at the end. Next control, Siena in Italy. We're going to be indulging riders who love their cycling, professional and otherwise, with the roads of the Strada Bianchi and the Eroica. So the parkour here starts right in the Piazza del Campo of Siena, under that famous medieval campanile, an absolutely amazing sight, through the winding labyrinthine medieval streets of Siena, down out of the town and onto those chalky gravel roads through the Tuscan hills that we know from Strada Bianchi. So it's brand new for the Transcontinental race. We've never really ventured south of the Alps in Italy before, but I already know that this is going to be one of those iconic Transcontinental places. From Siena, we're continuing down the spine of Italy to the second part of the double parkour for CP4, down to Picentro in the southern Apennines. Now, this route keeps riders in the Apennines. If we go one more slide, do we have? Oh no, that's.
Thank you. You have to go back up.
Control yourselves.
You tease.
So from Siena, we're heading down the spine of Italy to Picentro in the southern Apennines, and then and this is another area that the Transcontinental race has never got to explore before, always remaining in the Italian Alps. This year we get to open up those unexplored roads of Italy a little bit more. The climb out of Picentro, incidentally, where Madonna's ancestry is from. Who knew? And also sits above the town of Sulmona, where Ovid is from. Argue about who is the most influential poet of their time. So from there in the Apennines, we're travelling all the way, as you saw, across to Varel in Albania. We're revisiting TCR number 9's control point number 3 at Varel in Albania. So as you probably will guess by this, ferries across the Adriatic will be allowed.
Thank you.
Otherwise, it would be a really long race. And spoiler alert, it's already really long. So, but Varel in Albania, it's an area that we know really well from the Akers race, and that we also featured in TCR number 9. An amazing, untouched corner of the Balkans. Beautiful forested, rolling hills, crystal clear tumbling rivers, sheer cliffs. Again, Josh, catching my eye at the back, knows it from the Akers race this year. So Varel is going to be featuring another split parkour and control point. Details on that to follow. But we're going back to Villa Brucci, which hosted our control for TCR number 9. And anyone who was there will remember that it is about the only place in the entire Balkans that you can buy vegetables. So there are going to be a lot of relieved riders sleeping on the sofa, waking up to a steaming plate of rice and vegetables. And I know Wesley and his family are already excited about hosting us again. He's still got our control point stamp from TCR number 9. And when I went to see him last year, he said he wasn't giving it back until we brought the race back to his family hotel. So, Wesley, we're coming to get that stamp. From Control Point 5, and scholars of TCR here will notice that Control Point 5 is already an anomaly. Normally, Control Point 4 is as far as it goes. This being a longer race than normal, it has more controls than normal. So, from Control Point 5, does anyone want to guess where we're going next? Anyone? Camberwell at the back there? Any other ideas? Greece? Budapest? Meteora? Cork?
Yeah.
Bulgaria? Alright. Some good guesses, some pretty dodgy guesses, but none of them right. Where we're going next is, in fact, Constanta in Romania, all the way up on the Black Sea coast. Constanta, known in the ancient Roman Empire as Thomas, actually Ovid, who was from Sulmona, as discussed, was then banished to Thomas, Constanta, as the very edge of the Roman Empire. So, as for ancient Rome, it was almost as far from Rome as you could get, right on the edge of Europe. So it is for us, the edge of Europe, and where TCR number 11 will finish. So, Constanta in Romania, the Finnish parkour takes us down beautiful, rolling route along the mighty Danube River, and finally out to the Black Sea, and this ancient city full of minarets, ancient buildings, and a beautiful spot for our weary riders to finally rest their legs, which makes TCR, if we go one side further, which makes TCR number 11 probably the longest transcontinental race to date. And that depends on every rider's route choice, obviously. Previously, TCR number 8 has been the longest, but TCR number 11 looks like it's gunning for that crown. It's also the easily the furthest as the crow flies. You'll look at it from east to west. It stretches an almost horizontal line across Europe.
But it's flat though, yeah?
Yes, it is very flat. Yeah.
Pan flat.
The famous planes in the trauma line.
So starting at about 41.9 degrees north, and finishing at about 43.1 degrees north. It's less than a degree and a half from start to finish in terms of how many parallels it's crossing. It's basically horizontal across the continent of Europe. So, reimagining the map of the Transcontinental, which has traditionally gone in a sort of northwest southeast direction. Brand new direction for us, new era, and further than ever before. But that isn't even the most exciting thing about TCR number 11. For TCR number 11, as a lot of you will know, we, as Lost Dot, have a firm and long-standing commitment to diversity, inclusivity, and I'm about to hand over to Hannah. God works in mysterious ways. As Hannah said, we're going to take questions about either the route launch, or the women's campaign, or rules, or whatever you want. I can see one over there.
Firstly, thank you for talking so passionately about the routes. A question for both of you. Which is the part of the route that you're most excited to feature on the next TCR?
Great question. Which is the part of the route you're most excited to feature on next TCR? Hannah, do you want to start? Okay, I'll start. This is a really good question. For me, I live in southern Italy, so I'm really looking forward to the Vicentro leg of the Apennine parkour. It's a bit of Italy and Europe that people don't know very well at all, but the parkour itself is this beautiful ribbon of tarmac snaking its way up the mountainside, and I know that it's not a section of parkour that people are going to be chewing my ear off about in Constanta because the road was bad or something else. It's a real sit back and enjoy. Take a look around you, soak in the beautiful light on the Apennine villages. Enjoy the weather in southern Italy in August, unless it's too hot. And take the Transcontinental to a totally new part of Europe. So yeah, that's my highlight. Anna.
I think for me, it has to be the start in Santiago, which I haven't been to, so I'm excited to see it for myself. But also CP1 and Picos de Europa. I did a tour there maybe 6 years ago, and there was this location, which will be revealed to you all soon, that I remember from this bike tour, and there was some brutal gravel to get up to this incredible peak, and I thought, maybe I'm just remembering it being much more difficult than it was, and I suggested that it was a beautiful location, that we might be able to work into the route. Thankfully for all of you, that gravel is not part of the route. But Andrew went and recce'd there and found something that worked a lot better for a TCR route. So it's a really, really gorgeous location, and I think it's an exciting place to start a new era of TCR and go somewhere entirely different.
Something social. So we've got a couple of people. So we've got a couple of questions coming through from the live stream about the length of the route, and will the cut-off for the general classification be extended to make up for the fact that one astute watcher has figured out it's about 4,800 kilometres minimum distance on Google Maps. And then a couple of other questions about the number of places. Will the number of entrants for women be capped? How many places? What are the chances of people getting a spot on the race, essentially?
So with regards to, I'll start with the women's entries. 100 women seems like a very bold aim for us, and so we're not really envisaging that we'll have more than 50% of the field being women, but we'll be preferentially selecting applications from women again, and if they go over 100, they'll still get an entry as long as they're not representing more than half of the field. I imagine that is not a problem that we're going to have. Answer the first.
With regards to the cut-off, yes, we always extend the cut-off or calculate the cut-off based on the route length and difficulty. So yeah, it's going to be adjusted accordingly, which means the race will last longer. Okay, we've got a lot of others.
It's a good question.
Let's go here.
What time do you start? What time of day do you start?
Start TBC, but probably 2000, 8 o'clock in the evening, CEST in Santiago de Compostela. Ray.
Thank you. Oh, the date of the start.
Date of the start, 27th of July 2025. So, as always, it's the day that the Tour de France finishes.
Tour de France.
Okay, other questions? Here we go. And let me also say, we can draw on the collective wisdom of the entire room. So if anyone has any questions for Josh, oh, Josh wants to ask a question. That's actually not allowed, Josh. Sorry.
So Strada dell'Assietta, which way? Is there a specific way to start finishing?
Strada
For West
dell'Assietta. The control point we haven't confirmed yet, but probably Susa or Susa area. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And ferries. Are you going to specify a ferry?
Question about the ferries. Are we going to specify ferries across the Adriatic? We're expecting to allow all ferries across the Adriatic. Caveat to that is that we're waiting for summer timetables for all of the ferry companies, but we're expecting to allow all ferries across the Adriatic. Okay, next questions. We've got one online, Elle.
So we've got Ali at home on the sofa asking us, what else will we be doing for diversity at TCR number 11? Is it just going to be women's diversity, or is it going to be broader? And maybe we could touch on the bursary spots.
Very good question. So by the campaign name 100 TCR Women, this really extends to anyone who identifies as anything other than a cis man. So we're using the acronym FLINTER, which is a German acronym that encompasses kind of a whole range of gender identities, but essentially women, lesbians, intersex, non-binary, trans, and asexual, agender. We've also got the Mike Hall bursary, which has been running for a number of years now. We'll be offering a number of places again to riders from socially kind of disadvantaged backgrounds. Thank you. And within the Mike Hall bursary, we really encourage applications for a whole range of different identities and diversity. So, yes.
Thank you.
And we should say that we also always encourage a wide range of applicants across all races, faiths, nationalities, and the sole focus for us is finding the fastest person across Europe. And what we've known for many years is that the fastest person across Europe is not necessarily a white man. So we want to have the broadest spectrum of applicants possible apply, because the fastest person across Europe might be from anywhere. And frankly, if this race is about anything, it's about letting people use it as a tool to change their lives if that's what they want to do. And that's not something that we want to limit to straight white men. We want as many people from as many different walks of life applying.
Woo!
Any more questions? Questions?
So another one from social media. We've done the green leaderboard now for the last 2 years. Do we have any aspirations to go further?
Okay, great question. Thanks very much for that. So, we also have the Low Carbon Travel Fund, which we're expanding this year, which is a travel fund which we use to support riders who would like to travel flight-free to and from the Transcontinental, but would otherwise be unable to do so because of the cost of it. So Low Carbon Travel Fund applications will be opening, where we have a £250 grant for riders to help with their cost of travel. We are also going to be running a coach service to Santiago de Compostela, because we recognise it's not the easiest place to get to. We're looking to do that probably from San John de Luz, San Sebastian kind of area, but we have to work out the fine print on that. But And we'll also be looking into whether we need to be running a coach service back from Constanta to a rail hub or not. Yes, we're committed to lowering the carbon footprint of our races every single year. It's not easy. It's something we're always working on. We will again be preferentially selecting people who commit to flight-free travel to and from the race. So that's something else we're doing. And that's actually a really good question, because it reminds me of something I totally forgot, which is something else brand new for TCR number 11. We are going to be, so currently we have GC classification, we have pairs classification, we have green leaderboard, we celebrate the fastest woman to finish, and now we have a new classification we're going to be adding to the Transcontinental race, which is going to be a points jersey. So, yeah, the TCR. I know I should have led with this, shouldn't I? The TCR number 11 points winner will be the fastest rider across all of the parkour. So it's possible that will also be the GC winner, but also pretty possible that it's not. We're going to be excluding the start parkour from that, because everyone's going to be a little bit frisky off the start line anyway, and we don't want to encourage we don't want to be encouraging anyone to end their races too early. But all the other parkour, your time on the parkour will be totted up, and the person with the shortest time on all those parkour will be the TCR number 11 points classification winner.
Sprint finish.
We have a question over here.
Please consider if there's like a young rider's jersey. I mean, I'm not young anymore.
That's actually a great suggestion from Sharon. From Sharon over here. Anyone who couldn't hear, will there be a young riders jersey? That is actually a really good question. We haven't considered it, but I give you my word that we will go away and think about that pretty hard, because it's a really good idea.
Or an old.
Also some requests for
Someone.
This is where it's like, everyone's like, but what about me?
I can already see the Albanian crew nodding away at the suggestion of the young riders jersey, so that might be one in the pipeline. Any other questions?
When do applications open?
When do applications open? Okay, so we're actually going to be launching applications for women a little bit earlier than everyone else. So applications should open on the 3rd of December for women. They'll have 5 days or so before applications open for everyone else. So we're hoping that might just generate a bit of interest in the first week as women start getting the ball rolling and encouraging other women to think about it. Applications will close at the end of December.
Any more?
Oh, hello.
What's an application process?
What is the application process?
What does it take to get inside?
Great question.
Great question. So we have applications open on our website. Go to lost.cc and you'll find the details there. And essentially we'll have a separate application for women, as we do, or anyone who doesn't identify as a cis man, essentially. And so if you open the application, you'll get access to the race manual, which is a long document that tells you everything that you need to know about the TCR. So it tells you a little bit about the ethos of the race and the rules and the spirit of the race, so that you have an understanding of what it means to take part in the TCR. It has an overview of the route, so that you can start planning your own route and decide whether you like the look of it and whether you're inspired enough about it to do it. And then it should also give you enough of an understanding about the race that you can then answer our application questions. So those questions will test your understanding of what it takes to do the race, and some of your kind of technical understanding about riding bikes. Because we want to make sure that we're not just getting people applying who maybe don't have the experience required in order to take on a challenge like this. But all in all, it's a fairly simple application process. Any more? Oh, we've got one last question here.
Apart from the Strada Bianchi, are you able to tell us anything about the off-road sections, particularly the gnarly ones? And how wide are tyres?
Well, you might need to do your own research for this one. I can't tell you what tyres to take, but I recommend chatting to a few other riders. Do you want to give any context behind the gravel that they might be tackling?
Yeah, what we can say, let me just sense check this. Yeah. Okay. So, there is, apart from the Strada Bianchi and the Strada dell'Assietta, there is no other mandatory gravel in the race. Wait, I've forgotten a bit. Plus a tiny bit.
500k.
A tiny bit on the finish parkour. Don't sue me when you get there. But Strada Bianchi, let's think about it. It's a road race. Tade's out there riding it on 28s, riding it on 30s. You can do it, Ray. Doing 50k an hour, yeah. Strada dell'Assietta, as we all know, was there in TCR number 3. Josh has been there. How was it, Josh?
In 2015, I ran 28 mil road tyres. I also went back in August and I rode 3 mountain tyres. So basically anything between 20 mil.
So anyone who couldn't hear that, Josh rode 28s on rim brakes, I assume? Oh, early adopter. I always had you down as a Luddite, Josh.
2013, I rode rim brakes and I punctured once. There's no dirt roads. 2015, no punctures, tubeless today.
Tubeless.
I was it. I told you.
Happy days.
I won it.
Okay, so for those of you who couldn't hear, Josh was telling us 2015 when he rode.
I would say in Albania I had 2.3 inches. And suspension on that bike.
Yeah, but I also heard that you were running 160 psi. So, for anyone who couldn't hear, Josh was telling us that back in 2015 when he rode the Strada dell'Assietta on TCR number 3, which he went on to win, he was riding 28 mil tyres. So you can get away with that. and he was really comfortable and had a great time. I think that's what he said. I can't quite hear him over there. His hands felt great. That's the gist of it anyway. Then the other bit we've got the Strada Bianchi, which, as we know, it's a road race, and then a tiny bit on the finish parkour. But other than that, you know, it's I don't want to say gravel free, but it's you'll be all right, Ray. You'll be all right.
32, 35
Josh's tip is 35 mil tubeless tyres. There we go. All right. Any more questions? Is that it? Okay, great. That means I can go and get another pint. Now, before we go, I would just like to say thank you to all of our race partners. So thank you to Peak Design, to Farah Bikes, to Supernova, to Kamut, to Apidura, I know Ian's over here tonight, and to Albion. Albion who have the repair team over in the corner right now. So if anyone has their holy kit with them, please take it to Rhiannon's team in the corner over there for the Albion repair service. So thank you very much to thank you very much to all of our race partners. Thank you to the rest of the Lost Dot team, to Hannah, my race coordinator, to Elle here, who's been behind the Instagram stream, and to David, who's keeping me honest with his pilot there. And thank you all for coming. Thanks very much.